Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm so glad that you're here. Okay, so right now we're in the middle of January and I've been applying for some of the February, March, the spring basically pop-up markets, and I've done a few pop-up markets in my time. I've been doing this probably for the last 10 years. Before I even sold stationery, I was selling jewelry. So yeah, I've been doing it for a while. And I was like, you know what? You wouldn't believe it, but in this tiny little studio, I have everything stored for a pop-up market. I mean, it's under the bed, it's tucked away in closets, it's behind this actual computer in stacks. Like, there is everything that you would need for a pop-up. If you want to have the most successful pop-up and be prepared, I'm going to give you your tips list, and I will link as much as I can below if you're trying to find particular things, probably mostly on Amazon, but you know, everything that you need to have a successful pop-up, I'm going to help you. So let's get into it. My name is Rachel. I own Pancake Paperie, which is a stationery company. I also make candles and gift, like in that stationery line is gift wrap, scratch and sniff greeting cards, stickers. I'm going to expand this year into enamel pins and keychains, things like that. So anyways, that's what I do, and I'm all about small business on this channel and vlogging my life and what's going on and just, you know, how the two work together. So thanks for being here, and let's get into the list. It's quite lengthy, I'm going to tell you. Okay, so the first thing you need is you're going to need some form of shelter, unless it's inside. So, but even then, sometimes you need an umbrella or you need something. So the first thing most commonly is probably going to be a 10 by 10 tent. A 10 by 10 pop-up tent is the most common out there. Now, don't skimp out and get the cheapest 10 by 10 you can find, because I did that and it was absolute torture to get that thing up and down. Get an easy up tent or some form of easy up, something that you can use. I have an easy up tent, and I also made sure that the canopy that covers it, so most easy up tents are what do you call it, fire resistant or fire retardant. I'm not sure exactly what the word is, but because a lot of city fairs I find will want you to have a fire resistant tent, and basically it's just that little sticker on the outside of the tent that tells you it's fire resistant. So if the fire marshal was to come by and do an inspection, never happened to me, but you're covered. So there's also an umbrella. So sometimes you'll have a smaller table. Sorry, that's my dog. You hear him back there? You see that? He's a gross old man. Anyways, okay, an umbrella. A weighted umbrella is very important because they tend to pick up the wind. So if you get an umbrella, make sure you get a very heavy weighted stand to go with it. Get something for a patio. So patio umbrella. I have one. It's a beige one. I use it when I need it. It's just for like small markets when you usually have a 6-foot table. Quite often you'll have the umbrella instead of a 10 by 10 space. So there are small 4 by 6 pop-up tents, and these are normally used for soccer moms, you know, or people that are going to sports events and they want to be sheltered from the sun and put their chairs underneath it. I love these pop-up tents because quite often outside at some of the markets where I am, you can get a smaller space, a 4 by 6 table, and this pop-up, or like a 5 by 6, whatever it is 6 feet wide. That's what happens. You can only go 6 feet wide, and this tent perfectly covers it. It might not cover over my full table, but it shelters me, and I just think that's invaluable. And it's tiny, like you can pack it up. It's literally like this big. It's perfect. Okay. So now that we have talked about the tents, what most people forget the first time they do a market is the wind. In California, I don't know where else you are, but in California, like clockwork at 2 p.m., just if you're doing your fair, watch, 2 p.m. the wind picks up. It always does, if it's a regular day. If it's a windy day, it's even worse. So get weights. Don't waste time. I fought getting weights for the longest time. I was like, I'll just use a brick. You can use a brick. I'll just use something around my house. I eventually got the stackable weights. They're perfect. I love them. My tent, I've never had a problem with either. Some other things that you might want to consider is also little weights for around your displays. Now this depends on what type of displays you have, but if you have anything that's like going to be on a slant, you know, jewelry displays where you have the necklaces that come down, put a little rock in there to hold it. You know, anything that you think could catch wind, make sure somehow you've got it weighted down. You'll thank me for this later. Tent walls. So I think in order for you to have a really nice looking and cohesive booth, it's good to have tent walls. You can buy them when you buy your pop-up tent. They're great. Usually they zip up. If you don't want to do that, you can use a sheet. So I use a sheet, and the reason I use a sheet is because sometimes I want to change up my aesthetic, or I may not want a wall depending on, you know, what's happened if I all of a sudden have a walk through traffic. Or I like to use a sheet because I can wash them, they're easy to fold, and I just use clamps and I can take them down really easily. So I would definitely get tent walls if you just want the easy one. It protects you from the shade, but if you don't want to buy tent walls, do like I do and just use sheets, and they work just fine. And if you have a more of a feminine, or like when I have my jewelry displays, I just got lace, like the stretchy lace fabric, and I used that for my back wall, and it was so pretty, and it would still make my booth look like it was its own little store. So you're cutting out all the noise and the distraction, because you never know what's going to be put up beside you. Like, you never know what the vendor is going to look like beside you or what they're going to have. So I found, like, when I just put my walls up or my sheets up, it's great because it makes my space look like my own little store. Okay, table. So I wonder if I can find them here. For your table, if you get a 6-foot table or an 8-foot table, I have 2 6-foot tables and I have 1 8-foot table, and I also have a round table. I've accumulated these over time due to the different type of markets that I've had to do. But when you buy your table, and if you're getting the foldable tables, which most people have, don't get the legs that go straight down. Do not get the legs that go straight down, or don't get the legs that go like this and then they go like that. Get the legs that have the nice curve at the bottom. And I'm going to tell you why. Let me show you. This is why. You're like, what is this, you may ask? This is a table riser, and I bought these off Amazon, and they're so perfect. So if you have legs that come straight down, you're going to put this in, and it's not going to help because it's just a straight tube down. It's not going to help your table gain any height. But when the ones that have the curve and come down like that, it stops. And there's other types of risers, like people, I've seen they kind of set their table on top and it lifts up. But this is the best one because you put this in and you can pull your table. If you need to move your table, you can move it. If you need to go side to side, and you never have to worry about these falling off. So I'm going to link these below, but these are the best. So curved legs, get some table risers. You will thank me because these will lift your table up higher, make it more visible for when people are coming up to your booth, to your table, that they can see your product. It's more eye level, and it's much easier to sell when something is eye level. Next thing you're gonna need is tablecloths. There's 2 types of tablecloths. You can buy the ones that pre-fit, where they fold down and they're snug against your table and they go right down to the leg and it's perfectly tight. You don't have to worry about the wind. I think those are great. They look really nice. They're very professional. I've never used them because I always hide a lot of stuff underneath my table. So I like to just have the regular flowy tablecloth. And I buy these off Amazon, honestly. They're cheap, they're not expensive. And then I just throw them in the wash after, and I don't even have to worry about them. But just make sure you get the right lengths, and yeah, they're important. But there's 2 types that you can really get. If you like to store a lot of stuff and you're always digging under your table, I am, because candles, my wagon goes under there. I just found like a regular tablecloth works for me. I put a couple clamps on it, and you're good to go. So now let's talk about the clamps. I have just bought a big bag of clamps, all different sizes, and I use them every single show. They're so important. I'll show you one. Okay, I'm not joking. A whole bag of clamps here. They're all in different sizes, but they really are useful for putting up your walls, securing your tablecloths, all different sizes. Get a bag of clamps. You will use them and they will be such a lifesaver. Okay, so the next thing that you need after that I have is a sign. And I mean, this seems like a no-brainer, but it's really important to get a sign that is versatile and that you can take anywhere with you and use in any situation. So I have a vinyl sign. I got it on VistaPrint, and I love it because I can hang it on the back of my tent if I'm going to be doing it in a pop-up, If I'm at a table and I can't put up a sign, like if I've got no walls or anything, I put it in front and I just fold a little lip and then my display goes over top of it, but it hangs down the front. So I find it's very useful, and yeah, I would suggest making sure that you get a sign that you can use in different locations. I've seen some people that are really creative and they have a wooden sign and they just hang it up on their tent, but it's small enough that they can place it somewhere, you know, on a stand on their table. So just make sure you have a sign and think about how you can use it in different locations. Can I use this inside? Can I use this outside? Will it be able to be placed somewhere where I don't have walls? So just things like that. So make sure you have a versatile sign that you can take with you anywhere. I've seen people do table runners where they put it in front of them. That works really good, but then you can't really hang that up high if you're outside in a pop-up tent. So it just depends what you want. So make sure you have a sign and make sure it clearly displays your name. And if you can put some kind of tagline below it to catch people's attention, because they will look at your sign and then they'll be like, what is this about? And if there's something, a secondary tagline that you can write below it that draws people in, that's even better. Okay, what I have too, I'm gonna show you this. This is a lifesaver. These are my Velcro straps for my sign. And I've seen lots of people who use twine or bungee cords or whatever to hold up their sign. Let me go get these straps. They have changed my life. Okay, let me show you. So this is a little strap here that's gonna go around whatever, usually your pop-up tent. And right here is a little clip that you put on your sign. So let me demonstrate for you. So I've got to pretend this is my sign. This little guy will clamp right on here, and then this strap I can attach to my tent. And this little thing here you can adjust to, like, if you want your sign to come down or go up. But like, just think of like the top of my tent is right here, like the metal part of my tent, and I can attach it. I can just secure this Velcro strap around anything. This saves you so much time, and they're super cheap, so I'm gonna link these below, but yeah, definitely worth it. Oh yeah, so sometimes, and I've rarely done this, but sometimes you are in a situation where you need a back wall. I've done a few craft fairs where I just have I have a table. There's someone behind me who also has a table, and we're back to back. We're like this. And in those situations, you can actually buy, it's basically a stand like this that you hang curtains on that come down, and it creates your back wall, your backdrop. So this happens a lot in inside markets, and if you want to just, like, you can't take a pop-up tent in, you've got your table, but you don't want behind you to be distracting, because maybe someone behind you and like whatever they're doing, when people walk by, their eyesight is distracted. So I like to have a wall put up, and the cheapest way I've done this is just with two kind of tripod stands that has a connection of a metal bar that goes over. You can buy these kits, and then two curtains that come down in whatever color you want. You just buy the curtains and you put them in. So that's like if you are inside. But you know, quite often a lot of craft fairs in the winter, they're inside, so these are really good to have. I'll link that below so you can see what I'm talking about. Okay, something else that I have, got my little tips and tricks, is wooden blocks. One sec. Okay, so here's a bag of little wooden blocks that I have. My dad made these for me years ago. I mean, years ago, and I've kept them. They're different sizes, and these little wooden blocks, just get yourself some like cut up wood, take it with you. I've just got these. They help for when your table's unlevel, like say you're on outside and the grass is deeper on one end. I use these all the time to prop up my table and make it level. And these little guys sit perfectly on top of it and help me level up my table. But you can just get some cut wood or go to Home Depot and pick up some little end pieces of different sizes and just keep them in a bag. Also, like if I want to raise my stands a little bit, I've got these, and they all work behind the scenes underneath whatever my setup is. And if you're really adventurous, you can cut a little slat in here, right? And then you can, if you cut it on a little bit of an angle, and then you can put, I used to put and then it's just like this, and then you could have like a pair of earrings in here, or you could put pricing signage, whatever you need. These are super convenient, and then you can just place them around wherever with whatever signage you want, or if you want to use it. So, and then if you're not using them, you know, you've got a full bag of them for like other things. They're very multi-purpose. It's something people don't talk about. Sorry. I use them all the time. Get yourself a bag of blocks, and if you know carpenter, see if you can cut a couple slats in them, or if you know someone at Home Depot, go ask them to do that. It's really helpful. Now let's talk about the displays for your product, and this is really going to vary depending on what you sell. I sell stationery. I've made my own display. I've purchased displays. Displays really are hard to choose, but I mean, they're hard to give advice on depending on what you sell. It's just something that's very niche to your product. There's a few pieces of advice that I have though. Make sure it's at eye level. If you can get anything at eye level, that is so important. And then make sure that it's not going to catch the wind, and the fact that it's either super secure where you've weighted it down, you've clamped it down. Anything, like I said before, that's on a slant, you need to make sure that the wind can get through it. So when I made jewelry displays, I just used to use a frame, and then you see people put like a string across, and I would just like clip each little piece to it, or I would take little pieces of wood and put nails in them, and then I could hang up my stuff there, but the air could still get through. I have a video that shows you some of the old jewelry displays that I made from like, I think it was 5 years ago. But it's important to make sure that the wind, because I've seen so many things happen with paper products. So what I do is I have a tiny little bungee cord that goes across each row of my greeting cards, and that stops the wind from pulling them away, because before that I used to have a regular greeting card display, but outside the wind would pick it up and all my cards would just fly down the street. So I think that's just really important. So make sure whatever you have is super secure, you weight it down, you clamp it down, or it has the ability for the wind to blow through it. So, and then make sure it's at eye level, and you'll be fine. So now you've got everything. You've got your tent, you've got your table, you've got your display, you've got your product. The next thing you're gonna need is signs. You're gonna need signs everywhere. Let me just tell you, people don't read. If I have 2 tables, I have signs on both tables. Their eyes will go straight to whatever the product is and see if they can find the price right around whatever that product is. So it's just the nature of how humans operate. So just make sure you have signs everywhere. Go to the dollar store, get some picture frames, put your pricing in a picture frame, and then just like set it there, and then just get some little cardboard papers and just make sure that you write your pricing all around. You can do this. This is very easy, but it really helps. So one thing that people don't think about, and I find very useful, is a lint roller. Just your regular standard old lint roller. You can buy them at IKEA for 99 cents. Super helpful because the dust and the wind picks up, and if you sell jewelry and have any of those velvet displays, they easily get covered in dust. So if it was a slow time, I would just go over with my lint roller and clean it up. I still use it on my table now because some of the craft fairs I go to, if they're outside, yeah, they get dusty and dirty, and the lint roller has been super helpful. Other things to bring, just so you have them: tape. I bring tape. I bring a big roll of the regular old packing tape. I bring tape. I bring twine. Sometimes you need to tie things down, or I have it on hand. I rarely have to use it, but there's been times when I've been grateful to have it. I bring markers. So if something sells out, I like to put a big cross over it and be like, sold out. So people are like, oh, what was that? And it drives them to your website. I bring scissors. We can cut things and make little signs on ad hoc. It's just, I have this little basket of stuff. So very important to have like scissors, markers, twine, extra cardstock so you can make signs. Just bring some extra paper. I use extra white cardstock, so if a sign gets blown away, I don't get stressed out. I just make a new one, tape it, boom, done. Gift bags and tissue paper. So I remember my first craft fair, I forgot to bring bags. I didn't even think about it. I was like, here you go. Take this with you. Oh, you don't have a bag? Oh yeah, sorry. So I just buy my gift bags bulk. I buy like the multiple sizes because I have different size products. I have small, medium, large. I buy them bulk on Amazon. And tissue paper I have because of my candles. If you don't have anything that's not like needs to be wrapped in tissue paper, then don't worry about it. But I have tissue paper and business cards. Bring lots of business cards. Bring a business card holder so you can display your business cards. somewhere on the table and they don't get blown away by the wind. And this will be like the #1 thing, accessory. Yeah, this is the #1 accessory to any craft fair is a wagon. You need a wagon. You may not think you need a wagon, but you need a wagon. So some of these places, the parking is far away. Well, as soon as you carry a tent and table more than once, you'll be grateful for a wagon. I can do my whole thing in about 3-4 trips with the wagon back and forth, and I don't have to lift anything heavy. I literally stack up my tables on my wagon and pull those in. So get yourself a wagon. I love my wagon. And totes, plastic totes to stack your products. So see these? These are all my plastic totes to pack my product. I have them here as well. But you need some totes. So those are what I use. I have them in different shapes and sizes, but they're a lifesaver if it's raining, if it's windy, if, you know, you can just pre-pack the night before. You can really stack in your car. Get yourself some good quality totes. I buy mine at Target. You can buy them online as well, but the totes are great, and I found just Target has the most affordable ones randomly. They're cheaper than other craft stores and places like that, but they will protect your product. And I mean, I guess the only time you wouldn't use a tote is if you sold clothing, and I've seen people bring in a clothing rack, but then, you know, you're gonna have clothing bags, and you could put all the clothes in a clothing bag and tie the hangers together so you've got them all ready to go and really easy to display. Don't forget a chair. I've forgotten a chair so many times, and I don't know why. It's just like this thing that I black out on. So now I always have a chair just like with my table. So I'm like, oh yeah, take the chair. And a good hack is if you have a high display, every time someone comes in, you're in a chair, you feel like you have to stand up. I have a higher chair, and I'll link it down below, that I bought, but it's great. It's foldable, it's collapsible, and so when people come in, my head is above my display, but they can't really see that I'm sitting, and it's just made it so easy because, hey, I'm old, and like standing for 8 hours after setting up can be tiring. So, but yeah, just get a chair, and if you can get one where you can sit but still look like you're not, then that's even better. A cash box or an apron. Lots of people have cash boxes, but I just don't like them. I have a full apron that I use. I actually bought it off Amazon, and I love this apron because it's got pockets, it's got a place to put pens. I can put my business cards. Where's my dog being gross again? Sorry. Just him. He's gross. But I recommend an apron because you can keep your cash on you and you can walk away and you don't have to worry. I just feel like it's less chance to get stolen from. So I would use an apron. You can even just use like the little ones that, you know, like the waitress apron if you want, but have somewhere to store your cash. If you're accepting cash, some people don't even take cash anymore. A portable charger. A portable charger is very important because most of us are taking payment on our iPhones now using some form of card swipe or reader. So a portable charger is useful, and then some kind of card reader. You're going to need to take money and take sales, and if you don't have a card reader, you're going to lose out. Most people pay with card. I'm going to show you my card reader. I love my card reader. Like, I love my card reader so hard. Let me go get it and show you. Okay, I love this. I can't even tell you how much. So my card reader is from QuickBooks. I use QuickBooks for my my bookkeeping and my back end, and every sale that I make through the QuickBooks card reader, it automatically separates the tax out. It automatically just goes perfectly into my accounting software. So, but why I love this so much, you're like, okay, Rachel, get over it. This is actually the card reader right here. So this is the card reader here. This is a battery. So it never runs out of battery, and it has an extra, you can plug in an iPhone here if your iPhone is running out, and then you can go ahead and charge your iPhone, and it has another one right here. So you can literally have two things charging and be taking sales all at the same time. And let me see if this has still got battery in it. It does. So see how it says hello? It takes tap. this is not, you have to buy this from QuickBooks. You can't buy this off Amazon or anything. But if you're looking for a card reader and you can see how much battery life you have left, this boy is like, I love him. So I would recommend this if you haven't. I know people have Stripe and they have everything set up, and I understand that, but I'm going to continue using this guy because he is just the best, and my sales are separated out, and I think that flow is so good. So even if you have Stripe, you have to somehow separate out your taxes and do it, and this does it for, like, I only use this for in-person sales. But yeah, QuickBooks has my heart. Very good job, QuickBooks. Love it so much. A few other things that I would recommend bringing, which you might forget, not the end of the world, but I would bring water, lots of water. I bring 2 hydro flasks full of water. Lunch, bring something to eat, because sometimes you get too busy and you can't go out and see the food trucks. So some form of lunch, some snacks that you have to keep you going. Hand sanitizer, and if you can, bring like the wipes. Sometimes like people with sticky fingers come touch your stuff, it's gross, you know, so have even if it's just a little package of wet wipes, something like that, so you can clean things. And then a notebook. I bring a notebook so I can take notes, I can write down email addresses, I can, you know, just write down information. Sometimes someone will give me a good idea. It's always good to have a little notebook on hand just to write down all of these ideas. And then if you are doing some kind of giveaway, like, oh, you need to join my mailing list, if you are brave enough, I've set up a QR code where people, if they scan the QR code, then they get a free little gift from me, or they get 10% off, or it's just basically getting them in to join your mailing list is what you use the QR code for. Then you have more people that you can mail out to and send your blog out to. So, okay, so I think that's everything that you're gonna need to have in order to have a successful pop-up, makers market, craft fair, whatever you wanna call it. I think this is pretty much a really good go-to list. I will write everything down in the description below, so you can you know, just go look at that if you want. And then I'll also put links to the things that I have purchased, good places to get things. And you know, if you use something that is a must-have, you take it to every show, let me know, and I'd love to know, because I'm always open to new suggestions and stuff. But if you like this video and it brought you any value, I would be so grateful if you subscribed or gave it a like or a thumbs up. I'm a teeny tiny creator, and when someone likes my video, it really helps the algorithm know and push out to other people who might be interested in the same kind of content. But anyways, thank you so much for being here, and I really appreciate you, and have a great week. Bye!